Hey folks, welcome back to our Equine Entrepreneur playlist series, whatever you'd like to call it. Today we're talking about why here at Colton Woods Horsemanship we have a 90-day minimum for all of our training horses here. Right now I'm going to go ahead and date this video because things change, right? It is, what month is it? It's the middle of August in 2019, right? You can tell things are a little bit busy because I'm trying to remember what month it is, but we have a 90-day minimum with all of our training horses at this current time. Now, when I first got started riding horses for the public on my own, we did the 30-day miracle month, and we're going to do some videos on the 30-day horses. But over the last couple of years now, as we've been training for other people, we've slowly, I went from a 30-day to a 60-day, now to a 90-day minimum. And so why would we do this? Why do clients actually enjoy having the 90-day minimum once they understand why we have it? Okay, so one of the biggest frustrations as a trainer, as an aspiring horseman, that I had doing the 30-day horses was that by the time, like 30 days, like that's about 20 sessions, right? About 5 days a week, 4 weeks in a month. You have, give or take, about 20 sessions with that horse, right? And so that's not a whole lot. You can get started, but at 20 sessions, taking a horse that either has trouble, right, it's a problem horse, deemed a problem horse, or you're taking a genuine green colt, having 20 sessions, you're just starting to scratch the surface. And a lot of those people want to be like walk, trot, canter, and they want to be doing all these things, and they themselves want to be able to do it, and they're not the professional, otherwise they wouldn't have sent you the horse. So doing the 30-day horse thing can be extremely tough to get the results and meet the expectations that a client will have, and without sacrificing the integrity of the horse and your standards and your morals and everything like that. And that's at least what we experienced at Colton Woods Horsemanship. So when I expanded to a 60-day and then to a 90-day minimum, the 90-day minimum was when I realized how it affected my business structure. When I did it from a 30 to a 60-day, I was doing it because for the benefit of the horses. And I even did it for the 90-day because I still solidly believe in this. And I foresee down the road that as we become more established and our demand continues to grow, that we would actually start to implement maybe a 6-month minimum or an annual 1-year commitment to a horse in training. Why? Because our mission is to educate horses and people, educate horses and people with a lifetime in mind. And, you know, horsemanship to us is not just the way we train our horses, but it's everything we do with our horses. And so we're trying to create a solid foundation in these horses. We're trying to create solid athletes, and we want horses that we can be proud of the product we put out, and we're trying to have more advanced horses. So the more time we have, the more advancing we can do with these horses, the better education they can have to serve themselves later on down the road, and to help so that their clients can enjoy it down the road as well. So when I went from 30 to 60 days, sorry, there's a butterfly on me. When I went from 30 to 60 days, it was basically because by the end of 30 days, we were just barely getting started with these horses. We were getting a fair bit done. You know, they might be walk, trot, canter, stop, back up, all on a loose rein, turn left, turn right. You know, they weren't being silly anymore. They were fairly desensitized. We could ride them in the arena. We could ride them outside. We could do all these things, right? But they were green, very, very green. And so the miles go a long way. And so with 60 days, we could continue the finessing. We could get the horse more confident, more understanding in what we want to do. We could put more miles under their belt, and they could ultimately be a little more reliable for their amateur owners. You know, we're going to keep this rolling, but we almost lost you guys there. Excuse that. Sorry, guys. And so that's just the joys of doing it in the wilderness, right? But we do ride horses for other professionals. And in fact, right today, several years later, we ride a lot of horses for other fellow professionals, a lot of FEI riders and folks like that. Folks that have breeding programs that want to get young horses that they're keeping within their breeding program. They want to get them started right so they can send them on to another professional. We start horses and ride horses for those kinds of people very regularly, and very blessed to do so. And so that's why I went from 30 to 60 days. And then I was like, you know what? As my education kept progressing, and as I started to realize what more was attainable with these horses and what would make them even better partners for their owners, I was like, you know what? At this point, if we could have an extra 30 days, if we could have 90 days with these horses would be really solid. And I honestly, at times, like, we would get to end of 60 days and some horses weren't ready to go home, because 60 days still is not that much time, and 90 days isn't really either. But, you know, some horses come in and they just need more time to come through. You know, our program is about working from where the horse is at. And so, you know, what I tell people now at 90 days is like, hey, if your horse is as far along as you say they are, you know, then you're going to have a really solid horse at the end of 90 days, right? It's still a 90-day horse, but at the end of 90 days, your horse is going to be that much further along when they get concerned about spending. They're like, oh, you only needs 45 days. It only needs 6 weeks. You know, it might only need, and then 60 days at the most. And I might only need that much time. I was like, well, listen, we have a 90-day minimum. And if your horse is that good and that easily to be trained, then it's going to be that much further along at the end of 90 days. And you're going to have that much better of a horse. But if it's not, and we run into some trouble, then we have the time built into that 90 days to allow that horse to come around on its own time, and we can still meet our goals and our expectations by the end of the 90 days, right? So the 90 days does a couple things. It's beneficial to the horse, to the owner, and to us, the trainers, right? Why do I say that? Why is it beneficial to everybody? Because pressure, right? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And that's why I call it the 30-day miracle month. There's a lot of amazing things that happen at some barns that are done in 30 days. And, you know, frankly, if it's too good to be true, it probably is, right? And so I'm in the business of creating solid foundations that will serve the horse the rest of their lives, and helping the owners get the education they need to be able to work with their horses and be able to maximize their potential towards the goals that they want to have. And so I want truly solid education in these horses. I don't want quick fixes that look glitz and glamoury and look good just in 30 days. Like, I'm not into that. And there's some horses, like, I've had horses come in, super fancy, nice horses, second ride or third ride. I've had one on the first ride where we could do a lead change, a requested lead change, because the horse is that athletic and everything lines up right. Okay. That's not the norm. That is 1 in 100, 1 in 200, 1 in 500, right? I've ridden a lot of horses and only had 2 horses where I've really had the chance to do that in a training horse setting. Okay. But the 90-day principle then ends up buying us more time. So the horse isn't under that added stress and pressure to where people are going to sacrifice what they're going to do with the horse to the horse in order to get a result and impress somebody. It gives the horse the amount of time they need to come around, and it ultimately, too, for the client, they can trust that their horse is going to be cared for to the maximum ability, that their horse is their horse's best interest is in mind, because no one's going to sacrifice a disappointment to them, and they wouldn't. So the trainer is not going to sacrifice making the client disappointed, so they end up doing something to the horse to kind of make things happen a little earlier than the horse is ready, and then sacrifice the long-term soundness mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually of that horse. All right. So, you know, and also too, but like I said, when I got to 90 days, I saw a fundamental change in my business with horses asking horses to stay for 60 days to asking horses to stay for 90 days. And what I did the math on it, I was like, this is different. Like, something's weird about this, because then my demand was going up, my supply, because horses were staying longer, my supply, or my ability to fulfill that, was going down. So my wait list was getting longer as this happened. And what I realized was, if I was training 8 horses a month on a 30-day program, right? So I'm going to go to the far extreme and say 8 horses at 30 days for the whole year. That's 8 horses times 12 months. That's 96 horses that I would have to train that year to keep my barn full at 8 horses a month and on a 30-day program. Versus if I train 8 horses a month on a 90-day program, that means for 3 months I have 8 horses, and then the next 3 months I have 3 horses, and the next 3 months I have 8 horses, and the next 3 months I have 8 horses. Do that 4 times, right? So I got 4 quarters. I have 8 horses each time. That's 32 horses that I have to train that year. So that drops my availability down to 30% of what it was before. So that can increase demand, because now I'm training fewer horses, It's less turnover because you have money invested. And every time you have to get a new client, you have time and money invested into getting that new client through marketing, through time talking with them, and all the things that go into acquiring a new client. You have time and money invested in that. So now you're decreasing your expense for client acquisition, and your job stability is now better off. It is increasing. When you go to the bank and they're like, hey, you know, how stable is your business? You can say, it's very stable, in fact, because I have these clients that are with me for this period of time, and you will have clients within those that keep your horses with you for a year or 6 months. And so they see less turnover, more consistency in your income, and then you're able to be way better off. If you have a wife like I do, it makes them feel way better because you're not having to go through 8 different horses every month. And some horses you have 6 horses, some you have 2 horses, some you have 12 horses. Now you're saying, hey, we got 8 horses in, 90-day minimums. We got to get 32 new horses in this program every single year. That's a hell of a lot different than trying to go through 96 horses every year. That's a lot of horses, right? That's a lot of clients and a lot of horses to have to turn over every single year when you're doing the 30-day program versus, and that's from a business standpoint. Personally, I like the 90 days because it gives me the time that I need to invest in my horses. It takes the pressure off because I know I've given myself the time and I've given the horse the time they will need, and I can have faith in my program, in my approach to work from where the horse is at every single day and still be able to keep and know that the client is going to be happy at the end. And some people go, well, what happens if they're not? Well, the thing is, I don't know on day 89 that the horse is not where it needs to be, right? I can tell well in advance based on how things are going that if the horse is going to be ready at the end of 90 days, right? Because I stay true to my morals, I stay true to my standards and how I work with my horses all the time. And if I see that 6 to 10 weeks in that we're not going to be ready at 90 days, or probably more than that, 6 to 8 weeks in, right? So I still got a month left that the horse that I'm working with is not going to quite be where I'd like him to be at the end of the 9 days. I can have that conversation with that client early enough, at least 30 days in advance, to say, hey, listen, based on how we're going right now, I don't foresee that this horse is going to be exactly where we want it to be. And it's not become a lack of effort. It's just this horse needs more time. And guys, it is a rule and it is necessary that people do not abuse that and start taking advantage of their clients and saying, oh, he just needs more time. He needs more time. He needs more time. Just so that you can keep a check rolling in. That's a bunch of baloney, right? If the horse needs more time, you give them more time. But if you're not doing your job, you need to get in there and do your job. And so I'll call my clients and tell them, hey, listen, like, he needs a little more time. You know, do you have the money? Are you willing to leave the horse for an extra 30 days, which would make it 120 days total, and we'll go from there. And then I keep a very transparent, open dialogue with the client about where the horse is at in their work, how they're progressing. That doesn't mean I'm talking to them every day, but I'm talking to them once a week, once every 2 weeks, letting them know, being very honest about where that horse is in their education, and then being respectful on the decision that the owner makes. And I tell the owner that, hey, I need an honest response from you. If you're going to take the horse at 90 days, like, that is our agreement. That is understandable, but I need to know that so that I can make sure that what I do with your horse sets the horse up for the best success possible when it is ready, when it's time to go home. That means that I'm not going to leave jobs half undone and half open where the horse is still a little unsure. I'm going to try to wrap up as much as I can and make sure that horse is calm, confident, relaxed, understanding about what they have been taught, so they can rely on those skills. And then there's gonna be other things that maybe they just don't know because they're still just a 90-day horse, guys. So that's our approach on, you know, why we have a 90-day minimum on our clientele and why I pretty much stopped doing the 30-day deal. But again, I'm always contradicting. We're gonna have a video on why I would do the 30-day deal again, because I've honestly been thinking about that last couple of days. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to check out our extra videos. We always love connecting with our fellow equine entrepreneurs, those that are looking to forge a path in the equine industry. Thank you guys for tuning in with us. We're on a roll with doing some videos, so we hope you guys enjoy these. Be sure to let us know in the comments down below. Hit the subscribe button, click the thumbs up button. Let us know how we can help you on your journey in developing a career in the equine business industry, growing your equine business. We're here to help you guys. If you're looking for individual consultations, reach out to us. Go to coltonwoodshorsemanship.com, send us an email, send us a message on Facebook or Instagram, DM us, do whatever you need to be. We do business consultations. We're happy to help you however we can. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Best of luck on your journey. Happy trails.